Greetings, residents. Welcome to another edition of Talk of the Town with Supervisor Dick Thurston. And I hope that you are starting off the year on the right foot. We're fortunate that we missed another major snowstorm, but a shout out to Mike Sheehan, our highway superintendent, and his crew for an excellent job in prepping the roads in case we got more snowfall or sleet and hail, freezing rain before the storm. So at least we were prepared with good work done. And so reach out when you see them, thank them for all that they continued to do. We started planning for this possible storm around 6 o'clock on that morning. And we're coordinated with Councilman Bill Beal of the First Ward, who also is our Dutchess County emergency coordinator. Bill, as always, has done a tremendous job in supporting this community, and particularly all of our first responders to various types of events that threaten our quality of life. Today I will review with you what happened at the board meeting and talk a little bit more at the end about the quality of life. My mindset, as you know, over the last 5+ years has been to improve our quality of life. Everything I've said and done, have been very open about, has been do that. Not to hold it back, not to preserve it in amber, but rather to proactively promote the quality improvement over time. So we'll be talking more about that later today. But first, looking at the town board, one of the items, the key item that started off the evening meeting, was concerning the repeal of Chapter 240-50 of our town code. This was a very narrowly drawn resolution originally in the town code, which created something called designed residential developments. And it was done back in the 1970s and basically created a way that town board responsibility could be bypassed. So the bill was originally really proposed by Councilman Chris Phillips and Al Casella, and Angela Bettina were key sponsors. When it was first produced, I had it tabled in order to rewrite it so it would withstand, have a lot greater chance of withstanding legal challenges, which could still take place going forward. So, on Monday night, we did continue the public hearing, had a few more comments, including people that were against the repeal because they want to see the developers take water and sewer up, Cedar Hill Road. I think, that and the importance of the development, I do not want to see unrestricted growth, and I think it is the responsibility of the board to deal with this. So I had made sure, working with our lawyer, that in fact we had a better written code, which we did do. And finally, one of my key points was to make sure as a legislative body that we had the proper statement of facts. So I, tabled, and went into executive session, so that we could create the proper statement of facts, which then Councilman Chris Phillips read into the record. As a result of the resolutions, the two code sections or two resolutions related to that, were passed unanimously, which now means that it's not against development but it was against the one legal way that it could be done to bypass, the town board. So, we'll see, what happens going forward, and I hope that, we'll be able to have a chance as a board, to further discuss the issues, relating to this. But for now, our residents need not, worry about, what might have happened on Cedar Hill Road, and I think that's a good thing. In also our discussions, we had a number of items that I think are of really good interest, and again, relating to the improvement in the quality of life for our community. One was myself and Todd Bowen had put together the idea of having having one veterans parking space designated here in Town Hall. Actually, the board decided they wanted to do two. We discussed the design, and we'll be having an unveiling of that sign and signage sometime in the not too distant future. Steve Frazier provided a good discussion of giving us updates on the various projects in which he is working. And that is one of ongoing improvement, to various aspects of our town. I asked Tim Moot to report on Carnwath and what we need to do going forward. We've been advised by the county that one of the grants that we received needed to be used exclusively for a senior center. Our seniors don't want to go out there. I support them strongly in being concerned about how Carnwath is today. So we're looking at perhaps other alternative uses, trying to work with the county, with respect to that $150,000 grant. But good news is that finally, we were able to get approval, to put out for bid $140,000 contract that will enable us to properly get water into the dormitory building, what is known as the Reese Cultural Center, so that we can start the process now of getting water in there, getting the toilets ready, and then getting heating and air conditioning, and particularly humidity control. The top priority right now is to stabilize, to make sure that our sports museum there, the Sports Museum of Dutchess County, is properly protected and preserved, going forward. In the discussions, we had some, matters that are normal on an agenda, such as returning some monies that had been placed into escrow or bonds. Another interesting one, again, about the improving the quality of life was the proposal related to the possibility of an expanded athletic field and complex for football, lacrosse, and other sports that use a larger elongated field. So we're looking forward to receiving more information from the gentleman making the proposal, as well as then considering it going forward. Our challenge right now is the shortage of that sort of land, but we are exploring a couple of options related to that. We approved another tenancy agreement for water connection. And the important thing is here that until we get our legal counsel to provide us the legislation for the expansion of our water districts, we're looking at people that have a need for various reasons to connect the water. This is particularly true along Old Hopewell Road going down to New Hamburg Road, where as a result of the work that we've been doing with the New York City DEP, that we are now have sufficient water reserves for their project down in Chelsea with respect to the new shaft, for the water system, the aqueduct that's going under the Hudson River. So we are continuing to accept any applications for a tenancy agreement until such time that we can get the water districts extended. So if you have a need, I've talked with several people about that, then we will certainly as a board I think positively consider that again as an aspect of promoting and improving the quality of life. Similarly, we scheduled a board meeting for the 27th to be focused on code reform. And what we have been doing and studying, and you have seen at different times, changes proposed by the building department that handles permits and code enforcement, highway department, and our councilmen and women relating to codes that need to be enacted to update our, in many ways, outdated town code. We need to modernize it. We need to make sure that it's really meeting the needs of our residents and businesses when it comes to, really improving the quality of life going forward. So we will have an open meeting, what I call a workshop, to discuss this. This is how we've handled these in the past. This is not done in a secret room, back room, unlike some politics that you see at all levels, but rather, with open transparency, which is what a key principle I have stood for, and making sure that we are open and transparent. And that is my promise going forward this year and years ahead. So that's going to be, again, on the 27th of February, and I hope that you will, come out to, contribute, share your concerns to our board members. Two other items, we did have approval of a new dog control contract. This is looking at the humanity of dogs, which Jerry Owen, our dog control officer, will pick up on the streets or, and bite attacks and other things so that we can ensure that those animals, creatures, our friends, continue to have a very humane treatment. And last but by no means least, we approved, ratified the contracts with our two unions, CSEA and the Teamsters. I'm very proud to have been able to work very closely together with the unions on achieving continued proper focus on their needs and concerns. Our town has two unions, one which is the Teamsters for town hall staff, and our building department that does our building and grounds maintenance, and also our highway department. The good news is that we've been able to negotiate. And Mike Sheehan and the CSEA, myself, and our stewards in the Teamsters were able to get a 3-year contract that helps to, fairly provide annual compensation increases while stabilizing the budget impacts of it, and more importantly, to enable us to grow within the tax cap, but in giving our employees some future, promise that they won't suffer even if we have inflation. But the key thing is, from a point of view of inflation, you're very familiar with the concept of wage inflation. So I wanted to make sure that we manage that appropriately and also taking into consideration of the needs of our employees. So that was passed. The unions had previously ratified their respective agreements. So I look forward to continuing to work closely with our unions going forward. There are other aspects relating to promotion, annual reviews, performance review, looking at it from a proactive perspective, which we were also able to, build into, the agreements. So all in all, we had another good night in really addressing, the items that I've looked at, and I think relying on, good data, good facts, of course, experience of myself and our community, particularly our staff, and focusing not on failures but successes. So I want to make sure, since a lot of rumors and false information goes around locally, state, federally, that you get all the facts before you. Going forward, I had, and you've seen the Wappinger initiatives, also I talked about in the Southern Dutchess News. So we will be doing this. I will be placing a number of items on the agenda that go to the quality of our life, the protection of our environment, and the protection of our neighborhoods, and looking at also openness, transparency in the months ahead and the years ahead. So thank you very much. I hope that you will have a nice week ahead. So until soon, please stay safe and remain well. Thank you.